So the question is, if I can talk about how suicide is related to impulsive acts, and sometimes if suicide is an impulsive act. And what I can tell you is that as impulsive as it can often seem, 90% of people who die by suicide are actually living with a mental health disorder at the time that they die. And so as impulsive as it can seem to some people, it's sometimes a masked or a hidden depression that this person is also dealing with. Alcohol is often involved in suicides, especially among young people. And so sometimes the impulsivity is as a result of alcohol use. It's hard to say. Every situation is different, and so I don't want to go too much further than that, except to say that suicides are real, suicidal thoughts are real, and the majority of people who die by suicide are dealing with a depression or another mental health issue at the time of their death.
What would be the next step?
It's a really good question. So the question is, if you notice a friend is depressed and they'll admit it to you, but they won't seek help, what do you do? Two things. One is keep letting them know that you're there for them and that you're worried about them and that you want them to get help. Keep showing them support. The other is to take care of yourself. It is really hard to be a caregiver, and it's really hard to be somebody who knows somebody who's dealing with a mental health issue or a survivor, whatever it may be, and it's very easy for us to lose ourselves in that. It's not just the person who has depression that may need to talk to somebody. And as that friend, you can very well go yourself to a counselor and say, I'm having a hard time with this, and talk to a counselor and say, I have this friend who's told me that she has depression and she won't seek help. Can you help me figure out what to do? Talk to people about it, talk to others about it, about the situation that you're in, and keep showing your friend support and letting her know that you're concerned about her and you want her to get help. Question is, what are the different activities that Active Minds groups do on campus? Every chapter looks a little bit different because every campus is different. And we totally understand, respect that, and know that we in Washington, D.C. don't know anything more about your campus than you do. So there are just a few things that we require of you, and it all has to do with you telling us what you're doing. So you have to give us reports as to what you're doing, but other than that, it's up to you. Most of our chapters will have mental health awareness weeks during October, and during the week they'll have movie screenings of A Beautiful Mind, Prozac Nation, Garden State, kind of mental health related movies that have a pop culture bent that students want to see. They show the movie and then they have a speaker or a panel discussion afterwards to talk about the mental health issue that was in it. During Mental Health Awareness Week, chapters will have Stomp Out Stigma runs. They'll have brown bag lunch sessions, so they work with the counseling center to do a lunch session on how to help a friend, or college students and eating, whatever it may be, but working with the counseling center to plan kind of that programming. Some of our chapters will actually be able to do some activities during freshman orientation and talking with freshmen about what it's like to be a student, mental health issues that may present here in college, and then where students can get help. Chapters often will have panel discussions and bring in speakers. We have a chapter in Pennsylvania that brought in Derek Adkins, who's the 1996 gold medal winning hurdlist in the Olympics. And Derek came in and talked about the depression he experienced before the Olympics, during the Olympics, after the Olympics. And the idea was to show people that you can be seemingly on top of the world and be dealing with depression, and then what he did to help support himself. But what ended up happening was, the Active Minds members, like psychology majors, others who were interested came, but the entire track team poured in too, because the 1996 gold medal winning hurdlist is here to speak. And so the chapters, what they really do is plan really campus-friendly events that attract a lot of people, and maybe people who wouldn't necessarily come in to talk about mental health in a way. We have a partnership as a national organization with Sean Andrews, who is a Pro Bowler from Philadelphia Eagles, who unfortunately wasn't signed this year, but that's okay. And he is in his mid-20s and talks really openly about the depression that he experienced in high school, he experienced in college, and he's experienced while he's been a Philadelphia Eagles football player. Same thing, getting people to come and listen to a topic they wouldn't necessarily listen to. We have a couple of national programs. We have a National Day Without Stigma that happens in that week in October, and chapters will do stigma reduction campaigns, one of which is a program called Counselors Out of the Center, where the chapter basically works with the counseling center to get the counselors out of the counseling center and serving bagels and donuts and coffee in the student union so that students can see what counselors look like and that they're not necessarily the scary white men with beards on couches that we all think of from the movies, right? They're cool people, they're normal people. So that's one of the activities. We also have a program called National Stress Out Day that a lot of our chapters participate in, and that happens actually next week. It's in April, and it's about stress relief. Teaching students about anxiety disorders, but then also the stress that we feel around final exams, the end of the semester, the end of the year. During Stress Out Day, chapters will hold recess on the quad, where they play Red Rover and dodgeball and Foursquare and make stress balls with sand and like really basic things to get people to have some fun at a time that we typically don't have very much fun. So it really, really varies, and every chapter is a little bit different depending on who the students are who are part of it and what the issues are on campus that you really see as being the big issues on campus. But those are a lot of the events that our chapters will hold. Yeah?
What if you want to start a chapter in a high school, but they won't help fund it, or you don't really see eye to eye with your guidance counselor?
Then you talk to us. It's interesting. We have been primarily a college, university-based organization because I was in college when it all happened. That's what I knew. But also because there are a lot of barriers that high school students face that college students don't necessarily face. Primarily, any college student who wants to start any college student group can. You just have to get registered with student government. In high school, traditionally, student groups have to be approved by the teachers, the principal, the superintendent even, and there's been a lot of barrier there. But we've been able to work through it on a case-by-case basis with some students, and so I would just encourage you to email me or email Kate, who's a chapter coordinator for your region, and she can help you work through some of the issues. That said, the goal of Active Minds is to connect students with the resources on campus and in the community in your school. And so we don't want to be creating a rift between the students and those services, because then we're kind of doing everybody a disservice. So really figuring out a way to have both groups work together and see eye to eye, and I think we can very well do it. So just get in touch with me. Yeah?
What if I have a friend who is like suffering from depression and he has like talked to a psychiatrist and he's on medication, but he says it's not really helping him with that. He's still having these symptoms.
So the question is, what if you have a friend who is seeing a psychiatrist and on medication but just doesn't feel like it's helping them? One of the really important things to know about mental health treatment and mental health care is that there's no one solution for everybody, and oftentimes it can take a lot of adjustments in medications and types of therapy and whatever it may be for somebody to find a good solution for them. And that solution may change after a week or 2 weeks or 10 years, whatever it may be. And so I think it's important for you to let your friend know that maybe this isn't working for him and maybe he needs to try a different medication, or talk to his doctor and let the doctor know this isn't really working for me. Or if the doctor himself or a therapist yourself that you're seeing just isn't really working, it's your prerogative to change, to get somebody else who is working for you, to get somebody else who you do connect with. And so the key is to be honest with the doctors about how you are feeling, or how things are working for you, so that you can work one-on-one with your doctors to create a plan that really works well for you. And then again, as a friend, do what you need to do to take care of yourself through the situation. Everybody, I am a firm believer that if we all go for annual physical treatment and seeing our doctor, why the heck don't we go for annual mental health, talk to a therapist? And so go check yourself. Go talk to somebody about any experiences that you're having, any anxiety you're experiencing, or any concern that you have about yourself or a friend. So I think we'll wrap up, but I will definitely be around during the reception, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Again, our website is just activeminds.org. My email address is on there, as is the email address of Kate, who's your chapter coordinator here. Again, I want to thank you all for being here and being such an awesome audience, and thank the foundation again for bringing me here, and I hope to see all you guys at pizza reception afterwards. So thanks.